The tea for today is some Damiana, holy basil, and I put one more thing in here, lemon balm.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like a calming, euphoric, aphrodisiac tea.
Okay.
The Damiana is going to be... cheers. The Damiana is going to be a good one for later.
Perfect. Yeah, that tastes great.
I do not really drink tea.
Mm-hmm.
I drink tea. I don't really drink tea with sweetener anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I haven't really been for like the last 2 or 3 years. I very rarely will ask for like some honey.
Honey, yeah.
But it's very rare. I prefer to just taste it. There's some exclusions to that.
Mm-hmm.
Dandelion root,
Okay. Yeah.
chicory root. I can't really stand them.
Yeah.
Just like, and here's that one that smells like feet. Valerian root.
Okay, haven't had that one.
That one smells like dirty socks. Valerian root is supposed to help you sleep, and just smelling it just disturbs my entire peace.
Right. Got you. Okay, cool.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
we're here at the Bardo, and I appreciate you for joining me here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. We've got Branden here. So I don't necessarily know like how you like to be introduced. There's so much.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
The myth, the man, the legend.
Yeah, I mean, my work spans kind of every discipline. I've been doing creative work in design and art for over a decade, really since I was a child. My passions have always been kind of art and science kind of intertwined since I was very young. Nowadays, I kind of frame the work that I do under like world building and information science, information systems, and information theory. And a lot of that kind of like touches things that I've been interested in, questions I've been drawn to since I was a child and have like explored through my work. It's only recently that I've come to understand that information is something that has been like the basis of my question seeking and artistic and design explorations for a really long time, with the aim of essentially just trying to bring forward more progressive, like optimistic, healthier ways of existing together and like with the planet. So yeah, that's a very brief like synopsis, but we can dig into all those different parts obviously through our conversation.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to dive deep. I really love the world building concept and phenomenon that's happening right now with creators as a whole.
Yeah.
Where it's very important to be building a world,
Right.
And how powerful that is. And like I think that's a like main differentiation between a lot of like the quality of not just like creators but brands and like products. And like if you are genuinely building a world, I think you stand out more in that essence. And I think about the first time I opened Blender, and I still have only opened Blender probably about 5 times in my life.
Yeah.
But the first time I ever opened Blender was like when I was a kid, I wanted to build video games.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of that plays into what I'm doing now.
Very much,
I don't know if you can resonate.
Yeah.
And I opened up Blender, and this was like 2006, and it was the world of before like YouTube. So,
Yeah. Okay.
it was just forums. And I was on fucking AIM,
trying to figure it out.
Yeah, so I opened it up, without looking up any information aside of like people utilize this and you can make games on it.
Right.
And as soon as I opened it up, I looked at it and it was so not user friendly that I just like immediately closed it and was like, wow. We'll see.
Right. See about that.
Yeah, I never picked it back up until like in the past year. I've opened it like 4 more times.
I see. It makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, world building is like the sort of ethos of my studio, The Young Never Sleep. Another world is possible. Is something that I've kind of been using since the beginning, since I kind of started the studio around like 2010. And it was again rooted in the same kind of thinking. When I look out at sort of the natural world and also the diversity of the cultural human world, seeing the different ways that we've been able to live through time, and how the way that we currently live is just like a very recent and brief like iteration of that, and it's not something that is permanent or like non-negotiable. And then more broadly, I think like world building is something that cultures have done really since the beginning of time. Like within whatever cultural context you exist in, you kind of build a world around that cultural context.
I think mythology.
Right, exactly.
That's a big one, which I was also obsessed with as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, mythology is definitely a critical one. And, the further I got into my practice, thinking about sort of the fact that our world has been constructed around certain concepts, and the power of a concept, like the concept of capitalism, for example, or the concept of gender. These really started as ideas, and then they became the world that we inhabit largely. So I think that's something that's really powerful, and in a very distinct way shows the power of information on a more fundamental level.
And the ability to think freely.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. These concepts and constructs are really just like thought bubbles and boxes.
Exactly. Yeah.
And even with people's inability to think outside of that, like sometimes there's an inability for people to take two and put them together.
Yeah. Right.
And I think that's like a big part of creativity right now is like seeing something that has a very historical or cultural usage, and then taking it and being like, this applies to this thing,
right? Yeah,
and you can do this with this thing, and like take this thing to the next level and have that level of innovation.
Absolutely.
So, and I think that's like part of the iterative process.
It is. Yeah.
So I really like that you brought that in. Like they're just constructs, and people get kind of obsessed with these constructs.
Very much so, yeah. I mean, hence society, right? Like, it's like an obsession with all these constructs and an inability to let them go because they are so rooted to our identities. When you talk about something like, bringing forward the fact that like trans people exist and always have, and the fact that, all these kind of different identity expressions have existed, that becomes a threat to certain people because it is a confrontation of their own identity or lack thereof. And it to me it really is like a near-death experience for them when they confront that. I think that anytime you come, especially for my journeys with psychedelic medicines, I think anytime you come to like a challenge or the end of a paradigm, you're met with death. Like I remember talking about certain things and just like flow of consciousness, and then when I got to something that I like kind of disagreed with and or like was like needed to be broken down to like open a new paradigm, it literally like shut down my whole system, where I'd be like, I'm about to die right now. This is like the antithesis of ego death right now. Like this thing is like, and like my whole, and instead of just being able to confront the depth of that thought, it felt like a literal physical death. And then like there's so many people that benefit from these constructs, especially in like terms of gender. The like products that are utilized for each individual gender. In that case, so like just the entire commercialism of it, the constructs of like worth in society, privilege in society, and at least in the current like
kind of like neo-colonial society that we live in now. So it's like there's profit to be made.
Yeah, absolutely.
These constructs.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's, it's fundamentally rooted in that. The philosophical kind of paradigm of reductionism, which requires things to be simplified, reduced, quantified. So it benefits from the simplicity of like saying this individual is a male that's very simple and distinct and clear, and that this person is worth a certain amount. When you talk about chattel enslavement, that's the whole logic. And we see that sort of being perpetuated again through this kind of data extraction paradigm that we live in, which is just the same thing as the enslavement paradigm, where you quantify individuals and then you essentially sell them on a marketplace, right, to different buyers. It's just abstracted to such a large degree that we don't really see it as that. We don't really see our interaction on the social platforms as labor, which it is.
The first time it was very recently that I had some people who work in tech in here, and they were talking about work, and they mentioned I heard one of them mention like a data broker. And it's that their company was either selling and or purchasing data from this data broker, and they were talking numbers, and I was just like, that kind of shook me for a moment. We got very black market.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It was like, wait, like a data broker.
Yeah.
Like you have like brokers for this thing, which makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But it was just like a concept that I wasn't privy to, and it wasn't in my like day-to-day thoughts. And I'm like, wait, like the amount of people that are just middlemen for data out there, and like how that marketplace exists and it's so covert and like clandestine.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's icky.
Yeah, it is very much so. And it should, that intuitive reaction to that, is worth listening to, because that's what it is. It's the old auction block, back again, just in a different, more abstracted form. And not only this happening nationally, but it's a global kind of thing, from end to end of the supply chain, from the material extraction from the earth that makes the physical hardware to the data that is extracted from the users and brokered in the market. It's the same, kind of like transatlantic, infrastructure grafted onto like a new, shiny,
Well, they say nothing's new.
No, not at all.
New.
Yeah, just repackaged.
And
for sure.
I've always really held on to the statement that like everything is by design. That kind of like that moves me in the simplicity of those words.
Right.
Whether it's through like natural design or just like geo-based design, or whether it's through like human-centric design. Like there's intent, that's the main thing to me about design, is like just the word intent. Like I would say like most art, some art is design, even though they don't believe that it is, because the moment that you have like an intent, it shifts into like meaning and design, versus like just pure abstraction where like you just go to it and I have no intent, I'm pure flow of consciousness. And like maybe something will come out of this. Maybe I'll find a face in here and I'll be able to do like that. To me is like art, and you're just like and so like the moment that you involve that intent in there, it becomes design. And like I don't think people really consider the construct that they're living in and how intentful everything was. Like there's a reason that we have like the colored roads that we do. There's a reason that the markers on the lines on the road are X like feet away from each other. There's a reason we drive on this side of the road and that the lights are red, not green for stopping. So it's like there's intent and there's reasoning, whether it's for the benefit of all humanity, or the benefit of a select few, everything is by design.
Yeah.
And just kind of like really sitting with that statement a little bit more. It's very powerful in its simplicity. You're like, wait, like, so the clothes that I wear, which, you know, going into like gender, I recently, I don't know if it was you or someone else, sent me a video discussing, or posted a video discussing how men's clothing changed from the 70s to 80s because of the HIV or like the AIDS scare, and I was like, dang, that's something. That's something. Right? Like we became less flamboyant and less colorful because of that, and it was very intentional, and like people profited off of designing the clothes and pushing the like marketing for people to stop dressing that way, and for the shame behind all of those things. And like that's like I think a big highlight that kind of adds to what we're saying.
Yeah, right now. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I always reference the quote from Frank Ocean when he says living in an idea from another man's mind. And like that to me synthesizes it so perfectly. That like, everything you're describing, when you start picking it apart, you know, acknowledging that everything is political, even our very physical bodies have a political element to them, or politicized element, that like the language you speak, how you dress, the architecture that you live in, the buildings, the roads, all the documents, all the things that create this matrix of like infrastructure that you inhabit comes from somebody's thinking. Somebody's thinking about, you know, white people are smarter and this and that than black people. We live inside that idea. You know, somebody thinking that men are more intelligent than women, we live inside that idea. And everything that we do in our society reinforces those things, and it makes it incredibly difficult to escape them because it depends on your very survival to continue subscribing to them.
And on top of that, now the ideas have been intertwined with science.
Yes, exactly.
You know, to where it's like,
exactly.
This is what we need to do to have this effect on these groups of peoples, or on a general public type of statement, you know, because of course, like there's some science that's faulty in terms of like to incite like racial superiority.
Exactly.
And that's faulty science. But then you have science of like, okay, like the human brain responds to this color and this sound in this way, and like, you know, okay, so if we do this happens, and so forth. And I think on top of just the like subtle aspects of like the society we're designed in from a more like I guess like from a more diabolical or just aggressive and assertive intent. You see that with like military weapons. I mean, and the power that they have to like send certain frequencies to do certain effects and so forth. It's like, and they know that the human body is going to respond in this type of way from these types of frequencies. You know, which is open science out there for who's willing to look at it, I think. And can be implemented for, you know, homeostasis, or to disrupt the nervous system, and even inflict and cause pain.
100%. I mean, all of this is kind of this was in large part like what steered me to information and learning about that, because it connects really every kind of layer of our like lived experience and the reality that we inhabit. Like I think typically when we hear information, what we think of is like information as it relates to human culture, like language and talking and meaning and data and things like that, which is a dimension of it, but it really is a much, much deeper and broader kind of concept that reaches down from everything from quantum information and like the most fundamental layer of reality, through biological information, through human culture, animal culture, and then even to cosmology and the way sort of space, time, and matter are constructed. And these are all things that large, very wealthy, moneyed institutions are very aware of, and like, can use and manipulate to whatever, nefarious or beneficial means. So for me, it was like, as someone who's a systems thinker kind of by nature, it's been important to try to, if nothing else, document and examine all of these different layers and try to come up with a way that people on a more grassroots, local, global, organizational level could reap those same kind of advantages and benefits, and essentially kind of stay ahead of the curve or abreast of these things. So yeah, it's it's been a hell of a journey.
I mean, I feel you, man. I definitely feel you, and that is really, it's more like world building, but also world rebuilding.
Yes, exactly.
Simultaneously.
Yeah.
And it's like the more that people, not just like free your mind, but really free your creativity and your imagination.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And once you can open your mind to new ideas and like which I think is mostly imagination and creativity, that's when like you're like, oh, like I can imagine, me not working this way anymore, me not living this way anymore, and so forth. And if you can't really feel into it, and you can't really see it and or dream it, even if you can't dream it, then I think that is gonna make the journey a little bit harder, or like create more hurdles along the way.
Yeah.
And a lot of the pseudo dream that we're being fed here is taking away other people's dreams.
It is, yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's take a little quick break to breathe right here.
Sure.